Now listen, the US military might have just whipped up something that could make a Space Marine nod in approval. A weapon so over the top, so Bolter-esque, it's got me wondering if we're gearing up for the grimdark future. Let's dive into this mix of sci-fi and Cold War madness. So we're gonna rewind a little here, to a time when paranoia was practically a currency, and the arms race wasn't just about who had the biggest bombs, it was about innovation, raw creativity, and let's be honest, throwing science experiments onto the battlefield to see what stuck. This was a playground for wild ideas, and out of it came one of the closest real-world cousins to Warhammer 40k's Bolter, the AAI Close Assault Weapons System, aka the CAWS. Picture this, it's the 1970s and tensions between the US and the Soviet Union are higher than my cholesterol after a barbecue weekend. Battles weren't fought in open fields anymore, they were happening in jungles, urban sprawls, and other chaotic terrains where the line between friend and foe was blurrier than a cheap pair of glasses. The military needed something new. Rifles and shotguns just weren't cutting it, so they turned to the drawing board with one goal: build a weapon that could dominate in close quarters combat. And as you might suspect, enter the CAWS. This wasn't just a rifle, it was a rocket launcher in disguise. It fired rocket-assisted ammunition, miniature rockets with explosive payloads designed to take out anything in their path. Body armor? Shredded. Light vehicles? Obliterated. It was as if someone looked at Warhammer's Bolter and said, what if we made this, but for real? And these rounds weren't just powerful, they were smart. They could adjust mid-flight, ensuring they hit their target with devastating accuracy. Imagine being in a tight urban firefight, knowing your weapon could punch through a concrete wall to take out an enemy on the other side. That's the kind of power the CAWS promised. It wasn't about precision, it was about total domination. But here's the kicker. The CAWS wasn't alone. The Cold War birthed a whole lineup of bizarre and ambitious weapons. Take the SPIW, or Special Purpose Individual Weapon. A rifle that tried to combine bullets, flechettes, or tiny darts, and grenades into one Frankenstein of a system. Or the Davy Crockett nuclear rifle, a literal nuke launcher you could fire from a tripod. These weren't just weapons, they were science projects with a lot of boom. And then there's the Tri-Cap SMG, a weapon that almost feels like a love letter to the Bolter. This compact, stockless submachine gun fired .73 caliber rocket-propelled rounds on full auto. It was designed for tight spaces, making it perfect for vehicle crews or soldiers caught in an ambush. The Tri-Cap just wasn't just a gun, it was a game changer, even if it never made it past the testing phase. The Cold War was an era of wild experimentation, where imagination often outpaced practicality. Weapons like the CAWS and Tri-Cap didn't just push the envelope, they tore it to shreds. While they never became standard issue, their legacy lives on as a testament to humanity's relentless drive to innovate even when it borders on madness. But let's fast forward to the modern era and talk about Barrett firearms. As you can imagine, these folks don't mess around. They're the geniuses behind the M82, the 50 caliber sniper rifle that's been dominating battlefields for decades. And now, they've outdone themselves with the Squad Support Rifle System, or the SSRS. If ever there was a weapon that screamed Bolter, this is it. Picture this. You're in the middle of a chaotic urban battle. Bullets are flying, explosions are rocking the streets, and you're holding the SSRS. It ain't just a weapon, it's a game changer. Need to breach a door and clear a room? Done. Got an enemy barreling towards you? Well, no problem. This bad boy isn't just versatile, it's deadly efficient. See, the SSRS can be customized for practically any mission. Need a shorter barrel for tight spaces? Then just swap it out. Maybe you need a configuration to punch through light armor. Easy peasy. This isn't just a gun, it's a tool chest, and every piece of it's designed to solve problems with extreme prejudice. Barrett understands that no two battlefields are the same. The SSRS reflects that reality. This thing's a problem solver, a toolkit for extreme circumstances, and whether you're dealing with tight spaces, open fields, or reinforced enemy positions, this weapon's got you covered. It's seriously a level of versatility that makes it feel less like a firearm and more like a combat companion. Now let's get into the ammo. This isn't your standard issue pew-pew kind of deal. Barrett's engineers went all in to create rounds that don't just incapacitate, they obliterate. You got your high explosive rounds, the kind that turn reinforced walls into a fine mist of rubble. Then there's armor-piercing rounds, which don't just laugh at enemy vehicles, they mock them relentlessly before turning them into scrap metal. Every round fired from the SSRS is a statement that says you picked the wrong fight. Barrett's ammo lineup includes specialized rounds for suppressive fire, precision strikes, and even crowd control scenarios. This thing isn't just versatile in its design, it's versatile in its destruction. Like a weapon built to adapt not just to the mission, but to the moment itself. But raw firepower is only as good as your ability to put it where it counts. Barrett didn't just build a weapon that hits hard, they built one that hits exactly where it's supposed to. Whether you're targeting a moving enemy vehicle, a fortified bunker, or a squad of hostiles trying to flank your position, the SSRS ensures your rounds land precisely where they need to. In a battlefield scenario, precision isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. One well-placed round can mean the difference between winning the fight or becoming just another statistic. And the SSRS delivers that kind of accuracy, and it does so with a level of reliability that makes you wonder if Barrett's engineers struck some kind of deal with the machine gods. Well, let's address the elephant in the room, or in this case, the power-armored space marine in the room. If you're a Warhammer 40k fan, the SSRS should feel oddly familiar. The bolter's more than just a gun, it's a statement of dominance, resilience, and an unyielding will to fight. The SSRS channels that same energy, proving that the future of warfare isn't just about bigger guns, it's about smarter, more adaptable ones. Barrett didn't just create a weapon, they created a legacy. If ever there was a tool designed to dominate any battlefield, it's this one. And honestly, it's hard not to be impressed. Now let's shine the spotlight on the FN Herstal, the Belgian masterminds of firearm innovation. These folks don't just crank out weapons, they engineer symphonies of destruction. Their latest squad support system ain't just a gun, it's an achievement. And when it comes to bringing the grimdark dreams of Warhammer 40k to life, the FN is leading the charge, turning fiction into something terrifyingly real. Let's kick things off with its multi-caliber capacity. Now that might sound like a boring feature to your average civilian, but in a battlefield scenario, this kind of flexibility can mean the difference between total domination and outright disaster. This weapon isn't just locked into a single ammo type, which is pure genius. Need to punch a hole in enemy defenses with armor-piercing rounds? Consider it done. Maybe you need high explosive rounds to turn a fortified bunker into a memory. The system delivers. It's like carrying an entire armory in your hands, but without the bulk or the hassle. In the heat of combat, having that kind of adaptability doesn't just make you effective, it makes you unstoppable. But FN knows that raw firepower ain't enough. Modern combat isn't just about who can hit the hardest, it's about who can move the fastest, who can think the quickest, and who can strike with precision. And boy oh boy, this system was designed with mobility in mind. It's lightweight, compact, and built for soldiers who can't afford to be slowed down. Whether you're slipping through the tight corridors of crumbling urban battlefields or darting across open terrain with no cover in sight, guess what? This weapon's got your back. It's a tool made for the modern soldier, engineered to keep up with the chaos of contemporary warfare. And I haven't even got started on its user-friendly design. Intuitive controls mean that the greenest recruit can pick it up and become a force to be reckoned with. FN thought of everything when designing this system. It's not just for the highly trained elite, it's for anyone who finds themselves on the front lines, and that's the beauty of it. This isn't just a weapon for specialists, it's a weapon for survivors. And then there's the firepower. FN's system's all about precision, and I mean pinpoint precision. Every round fired's practically a handshake with destiny for whatever it hits. Whether you're aiming for a heavily armored target or trying to neutralize a threat from behind cover, this weapon ensures that your shots land exactly where they're needed. And those high explosive rounds, well, they don't just pack a punch, they deliver a knockout blow. We're talking about enough power to turn reinforced walls into a pile of rubble and make any fortified position look laughable. It's not just destructive, it's utterly devastating. The thing about FN's squad support system is that it doesn't just fit into the chaos of modern warfare, it thrives in it. Open battlefields, urban warfare, close quarters engagements, this weapon handles it all with the kind of effortless brutality that's downright chilling. It's the kind of tool you want when the stakes are life or death, and there's no room for mistakes. And that's when winning means total control over the battlefield. But what makes this system feel so tied to the bolter isn't just its power or adaptability, it's its philosophy. The bolter in Warhammer 40k is not just a weapon, it's an extension of the wielder's will. A tool of unrelenting justice that leaves no room for compromise. Sound familiar? FN's system channels that same energy. A weapon built not just to fight battles, but to win wars. It doesn't just respond to threats, it eliminates them. And it's not just a piece of gear. It's a game plan, a strategy, and a statement all rolled into one. FN isn't just keeping the pace with the modern battlefield, they're redefining it. They're showing us a glimpse of what the future of combat looks like. And let me tell you, it's a mix of terrifying and awe-inspiring. Their latest squad support system's a step closer to the grimdark reality we thought only existed in sci-fi. Proof that when you combine cutting-edge engineering with a relentless drive for innovation, you can create something that doesn't just change the game, it becomes a game. And if this is the future of warfare, well, we'd all better get ready, because it's coming fast and it's bringing the firepower to back it up. Alright folks, let's take a minute to let this sink in, because we're teetering on the edge of science fiction and cold hard reality. The bolter, the larger-than-life weapon from the grimdark universe of 40k, has always been more than just a gun, it's been a statement, a symbol of raw power, relentless justice, and humanity's desperate fight for survival against overwhelming odds. But here we are, standing in the real world, and I gotta say, it's starting to feel like we're catching up to the future faster than we ever thought possible. But let's talk about what makes the bolter so iconic in the first place. This beast isn't your average pew-pew firearm, it's the definition of overkill. This thing fires self-propelled 75 caliber explosive rounds. And these don't just stop at taking you out, they ensure there is nothing left to come back from. A ballistic charge launches a round, it self-propels mid-flight, and then it detonates with enough force to obliterate its target. It's not a weapon for subtlety or second chances. This is the Warhammer equivalent of swiping right on destruction. Brutal, unrelenting, and unapologetic. Now, in Warhammer lore, it's not just anyone who wields a bolter. This bad boy belongs in the hands of the Imperium's elite, the Adeptus Astartes, aka Space Marines, and the Adepta Sororitas, the Sisters of Battle. These ain't just soldiers, they're walking tanks with a holy mission. The bolter is as much a part of their identity as their armor and faith. It's a tool of divine wrath, and every trigger pull is a hymn to the Emperor. So, yeah, it's more than just a gun. It's a declaration that you're on the wrong side of history if you're looking down the barrel. But here's where things get really interesting. The bolter has always been absurdly exaggerated as a sci-fi weapon, right? Except now, we're seeing its spirit echoed in modern military tech. I mean, take the Cause we were talking about earlier. This Cold War era relic wasn't just a prototype, it was a bold step into the unknown. It might not have made it to full production, but its sheer ambition screams bolter energy. Proof that even decades ago, humanity was dreaming big and dreaming grimdark. And don't forget that tri-cap. That compact, stockless wonder fired those 73 caliber rocket-propelled rounds on full auto, pretty dang close to the bolter. And that's not just innovative, it's borderline insane, in the best way possible, of course. But now we've got things like the Barrett squad support rifle system and the FN Herstal's multi-caliber squad support weapon stepping up to the plate. These things aren't just guns, they're engineering marvels. Adaptability, precision, and firepower all wrapped up into one. High explosive rounds, armor-piercing capabilities, pinpoint accuracy. These weapons are redefining the very means to dominate a battlefield. And that's what really gets me thinking. It's the symbolism, right? The bolter isn't just a weapon of war, it's a weapon of ideology, embodying the Imperium's unyielding resolve and willingness to do whatever it takes to survive in a hostile galaxy. The bolter and all these weapons we've talked about today have something more in common than just looks or firepower. They're all sending a message. A message that we will not back down, we will not compromise, and we will emerge victorious no matter the cost. They may not be exact replicas, of course, no purity seals, no gothic etching, but their purpose, their impact, and their sheer audacity feel like they were ripped straight out of the pages of Warhammer lore. All milestones on a path that blurs the line between fiction and reality. Proof that humanity's drive to innovate, push boundaries, and prepare for whatever comes next is as relentless as the grimdark universe that inspired them. And let's not pretend this isn't a little bit terrifying. These weapons are powerful, they're versatile, and in the wrong hands, potentially catastrophic. But at the same time, they are awe-inspiring, showing us what's possible when ambition meets engineering, when the human mind dares to imagine a future that's both terrifying and thrilling. A reminder that while Warhammer 40k might be a grimdark fantasy, it's rooted in the same ingenuity, creativity, and determination that drives us in the real world. So here we are, standing at the crossroads of fiction and reality. And honestly, it's pretty exhilarating. The bolter's always been a symbol of the impossible, a weapon too powerful, too extreme, too grimdark to exist, and yet, we look at the modern military systems and it's clear that the impossible ain't as far off as we thought. We're inching closer to a future where the line between science fiction and military innovation is almost non-existent. And if that future involves a little grimdark magic, well, I say bring it on. We've taken a deep dive into the wild world of grimdark weapons and real-world innovation, and whether we're inching toward the 41st millennium or just scratching the surface, one thing's pretty clear. That line between fiction and reality is getting thinner every single day. Now it's your turn. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, smash that like button, and subscribe for more deep dives into weapon lore and military madness. And remember, in the words of Warhammer, only in death does duty end. Catch you next time.